AITA for refusing to go to my own birthday dinner? I am not Oop. Oop is you, Maridal Pershan. She posted in Am I the asshole? I added in paragraph breaks and names instead of letters for readability. I also added some periods in run-on sentences. Your fun fact to cover up spoilers. Philly to LA guy requested cuttlefish. Cuttlefish have 3 hearts and are experts at camouflage. Cuttlefish are highly intelligent, and are even able to count. One study found that 1-month-old cuttlefish consistently pick a box of 5 shrimp over a box of 4 shrimp. Apparently researchers concluded that the cuttlefish's ability to compare quantities is comparable to that of 12-month-old human babies and rhesus macaques. Trigger warnings: miscarriage, medical abortion, infidelity, verbal abuse, less than. Mood spoiler: still sad but possibly hopeful, less than. Original post, March 11, 2023. Using a throwaway because my sil knows my main. So a little backstory: I, 25F, and my husband Vernon, 36, have been married for 5 years. It was arranged by my grandfather and his uncle. We are not American, so it's common here. Vernon wasn't too thrilled about the marriage, and he made it very clear because he was already in a relationship with Felicity, 30SF. Long story short, Vernon, his family and Felicity did the most to make my life hell, and my dumbass was stuck on the idea that one day he might change. About 3 years ago I found out I was pregnant and I was excited, but he wasn't given. We only had sex a handful of times before that. He got it into his head that it wasn't his. The baby had complications and I had to get a medical abortion. Not once did he or his family come to the hospital, and I guess that opened my eyes and I just stopped caring. I stopped trying. I just stopped caring. Early last year, he suddenly started caring, coming home early, calling me, bringing me flowers. It was quite uncomfortable for me. Then he tells me that he's had a change of heart and wants to try to better our marriage because he's developed feelings for me. It's all fishy to me, honestly. I wouldn't trust this man as far as I can throw him. He's been doing these little things and I just can't shake that there's a joke coming at my expense. Now on to the story. It was my birthday last weekend and Vernon told me his family was hosting me a birthday dinner. I told him I wasn't comfortable with that, and the last time I was at his parents' they literally told me I was my baby's complications were my fault and kicked me out cause Felicity was uncomfortable. Not to mention that they haven't apologized. Just started acting friendly. I kept telling him no and he kept insisting. He let it go and I assumed that was that. I made plans and went out with my mom and cousins, and he starts calling me asking me where I am. I tell him and he tells me that he's waiting for me. What? Long story short, his family is mad that I skipped because they apparently wanted to apologize so that we could move forward, and Vernon keeps saying he understands why I did it but has been apologizing for everything and nothing. Last night Felicity called to cuss me out because they've left her high and dry and Vernon wants nothing to do with her, so maybe they did want to apologize. I thought I was in the right, but now even my cousins are telling me I was wrong for skipping. Now I'm doubting myself. AITA? Relevant comments. About Oop. Yes, I do work as a teacher. I don't make much, but since everything in the house is taken care of by Vernon, I've managed to save up a sustainable amount. I can leave and there wouldn't be much consequences on myself. Nothing physical anyway. It's my family that would suffer because me leaving would cause them to be shunned by the community. This means they won't be allowed in shops. They could starve and people would watch them because their morals would be put to question. I'm looking into ways to take them with me to the next city. Birth control. Birth control isn't exactly a thing here because it defeats the whole populate the earth thing. So I only get one option, which I don't completely trust, but we haven't had sex in a year, so but I have it just in case. Why did his uncle arrange the marriage? I'm sorry. I don't know how to add an edit to the post, but yes. His uncle is the head of the family and doesn't like Felicity because she's not from our culture. Vernon didn't go against his uncle because it would lead to his shunning. Marrying me had benefits such as the house we live in and a piece of land in the farming areas. So I guess that was it. His uncle mentioned to the family that the only way the marriage would end was if I was to initiate it. I didn't know about any of this, and everything has started making more sense now. One last comment from Oop. Honestly, I don't understand the elders' reasoning behind our marriage. All I know is that I was of age to marry and had to marry before I was out of season. At the beginning I truly believed we could work it out because that's how most of my relatives' marriages started out, and they are happy now. After I realized it was a lost cause, I couldn't leave because a divorce is unacceptable unless there is physical abuse. When F called me to cuss me out, she spilled the beans about the house being a benefit of the marriage and the uncle not liking her because she's not from our culture. I plan on asking V or the others about more information because I'm in the dark and it's killing me. I want to make a well-informed decision on my next step going forward. At this point I'm only staying because I don't want my family to suffer the shame of me leaving. Mini update, edit, March 12, 2023. Next day. Also in comments. Wow, I wasn't expecting this to get as much attention as it has. Am overwhelmed and am sorry if I won't manage to reply to everyone. Thank you for your kind words and advice. Some more info on my family because I saw repeating questions in the comments. My family didn't know about most of what was going on. I chose to not tell them. But they still found out and are still willing to handle the effects of me leaving, but I can't let them do that. Everyone is happy and this would disrupt their lives greatly. I can't bring myself to that, especially to my little nieces. A few hours after I made the post, I decided to have a talk with Vernon after he came home from work. It went somewhat okay. I followed some advice in the comments about starting over on my terms. I asked him questions I needed answers to and he gave me answers. I wasn't completely satisfied, but it's a start. I told him I would give our marriage a chance, but he had to know that he was completely done with Felicity and would be completely on board with this. I told him to stop with the love bombing because it was making me uncomfortable. I told him I would absolutely not be having kids in the near future. I told him I was in no way ready to be his wife and we would continue with our separate rooms. Surprisingly, he was on board with all of this and said that he wasn't a boy anymore and that he was getting older and he needed to sort himself out and make things right. I asked him if he only had a change of heart because he wanted me to take care of him in his old age, and he said no. He said he realized that Felicity isn't what he's always wanted and started seeing her manipulate toxic ways. His words. He said he was willing to put the house in only my name. It's 40% mine. Entirely as a way of showing that he is all in and would mess up if I give us a second chance. He said he was willing to give me as much space as I need. He said he'll have a word with his family about me needing time and space and taking baby steps. Honestly, don't know where this will go at this point. I don't know the direction in which we are headed, but am willing to try so I can have a free conscience. I've started making a backup plan to leave, but that's in the worst case scenario. I'll update if anything significant happens. Fuck anyone who makes a woman think that 20 is getting out of season. Next update in 10 years on how she's had 3 kids with him and he's been secretly sleeping with the other women. And his family still doesn't care. Only about the grandkids. Man who is 11 years older says he's not a boy anymore. Congrats? Bets on whether Felicity is infertile. My wild imagination is guessing uncle threatened the husband and his parents to either take the marriage seriously or lose his financial support. Parents are then pressuring the husband to make up with op. Hence the love bombing and apologies. So the family lets Felicity hang around but she's not allowed to marry Vernon? Is that not weird to anyone else? I don't know why, but I got the impression that Felicity is sterile and that's why she ran with Oop. I very much doubt that change in the husband. She is completely and utterly trapped. What a burden to bear. Stay very unhappy or else everyone you love becomes very unhappy. That's a completely backward way to run a community. Anybody guess correctly what country this was? Every day I am so happy that I am not a woman in a third world country. I have hit a new level of disliking my own brain because as I was reading this I was wondering, would he be shunned if they divorced due to abuse? Maybe they could agree to her claiming it if that's the case. Because a large part of me thinks it would be hunky-dory for him to be an abuser in whatever culture this is. Did anyone figure that part out? My guess the uncle is dying. The guy, and his parents, is hoping to inherit a lot of money and other donuts. But he will get nothing if his wife will leave him. As soon as the uncle is dead the husband will stop pretending and will put all his anger for having to pretend to be a loving husband on op. Poor woman. Hopefully she can get out. Someone said Oop could he somewhere in Africa, which I personally think could be it. Christian missionaries go all over Africa to civilize and force Christianity on these people. Some communities have adopted some of the doctrine into their original religions, which, considering how complex and extreme OOP's community is, could be why we can't tell where this is with any accuracy. She needs the house in her name and very slowly. Husband should start dating her. She also needs to learn to put herself first. 100% sure his family either realized Felicity couldn't or wouldn't have kids and now she's their better option. I'd bet my life that Vernon is doing this for his own selfish reasons. The penny has finally dropped for him that he needs this marriage to work or his family, community, will shun him and he'll lose out on some big inheritance. Also likely that the uncle who arranged the marriage now quite old and Vernon will show his true colors again after he dies. Then he tells me that he's had a change of heart and wants to try to better our marriage because he's developed feelings for me, and I am a three-headed giraffe with 7 legs and blue stripes. This woman should make an S-base plan and run. Her loving husband will turn physically abusive one of these days. I'm guessing she's from somewhere in Africa based on what's said in the post. I feel bad for her. Regardless, nobody deserves this and she's just trapped. I wouldn't trust this man as far as I can throw him perfect husband. Before I was out of season. Face vomiting, face vomiting, face vomiting.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.